Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another interview. These interviews keep on popping, and last week has been popping as well in terms of tournaments. Winners here and there and everywhere. And the first that we're going to interview is none other than a familiar face to the community and in this interview series. Sorry, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Castman?
I am doing awesome as well, and I am glad to host you once again. One, because I do not have to work a lot on the overlays because I already have them and I just need to change the decks. And two, because you are a pretty damn good player.
Thanks. I just get lucky sometimes.
Luckily being consistent. Okay, I think you can do with that curse if you can call it that.
That's a good curse. I'll take it.
Yeah, but Brazil Open Series Invitational. This invitational took quite a while to assemble because there were three qualifiers, and that means you needed to perform quite well in all three in order to reach to this point. But in the last one, I think there was a best of five double elim, and you managed to qualify. So, did you expect to qualify first and foremost?
Best of three double LM, right? Not
Best of three
best of
double
three
elim.
double LM. Yeah. I had to go through a series, three tournaments. I made top cut in two of them. The last one I made no, the second one I made ninth place, so I was one off, because it was top eight, so I was one off from making top cut as well. So I made it into the invitational, and it went alright.
Yeah, and let's focus a bit on the lineup because this is the spicy one. This is what people are here for. And first deck is Zoe Diana. We see this deck popping so often, this Atrocity Invoke deck, and I have to ask you, why did you pick it as well?
The first thing, like this deck is Alan's deck. He was playing it on ladder, so I was watching him play it, and he was performing pretty well with it. And I tried it on ladder, it went well. It doesn't do well against scouts though, but I didn't expect anyone to bring scouts, and yeah, it really did well. It was good against aggro for me.
Why did you not expect everyone to bring scouts? What did you actually expect to bring? A lot of aggro?
I mean, Simon is playing, so I know he's not gonna play scouts. I checked everyone's who I'm against. It's like there's only 7 players. I know Simon isn't gonna bring scouts. Uh, uh Broken Ball was probably gonna bring Fistiaf, so I knew maybe he won't bring scouts. He'll go Fistiaf as Draven and something else. And Agigas, I think he was gonna bring something similar to Simon, which he did. And I know Mezome will not bring scouts. So it was like 4 players. I'm sure they won't bring scouts, so I was kind of safe.
Yeah, and does this version have anything tagged actually, or did you change anything from Alan, or did you just take the deck card by card? Just got the point to the point where, alright, this list is good, this list can perform, I don't need to change anything.
To be honest, I don't play a lot of Invoke, so the deck did well, and I'm like, I'm not gonna tweak it and break it. It's doing fine as it is. I'm not gonna change it. The Shade Stalker is kind of different than the usual Invoke Zoe Diana decks. I felt it's useful most of the time because I could either block if I'm playing against the Zoe deck, I could block Zoe. If I'm playing against a Nightfall deck, I can pretty much shut down their flight. And it's also the Shadestalker can also block a Diana if wants to attack. Like she can't uh, pull a Shadestalker unless they have a Pale with them. So it kind of also shuts down Diana if they don't have a second target.
So this is actually something that you usually want to hit on turn 2, let's say, or at least turn 3 so you can stop your opponent attacking with the small elusives.
Pretty much, and also can trade with the Burblefish. Also can trade with. Also can block the Great Beyond. It's really nice.
Yeah, definitely nice. Since you said that you just played the list because it's good, not much experience, but it worked for you. Let's move to the next deck, which is, I think, your masterpiece, if I can call this that, because you love Trash Nessus, you have guides on it, you have been playing it a lot. So, why Trash Nessus? Why? What is it so special about Trash Nessus?
It's so fun to play. I just love the deck too much. I always play it on ladder as well. Uh, I have different versions of it. Sometimes I run Vengeance, sometimes I run Withering Wail. sometimes I don't run either of them, which is this deck. Uh, it's so good against aggro. It's really, really good. You can contest the board with them. You have Doomkeeper. It's so nice to drop Doomkeeper and block stuff with it. Uh, against aggro at the end, like if you get late game, they don't have an answer for Nessus into Atrocity. They just lose instantly. The only issue is this deck struggles against Hush. It just shuts it down if they Hush. But since we're not running Withering Wail and Vengeance, we still have a chance to pretty much aggro down a Targon deck. And Pescola in the Brazil Open brought the triple Targon lineup. So, and it was my first matchup, and I was like, well done, I lost. But uh, he banned, I think he banned my third deck. Oh no, my first deck. He banned my first deck, which is the Invoke deck. So this actually performed pretty well against Targon in his lineup. I drew really well. Uh, he made some random weird passes. I passed back. He was trying to get his his Radiant Guardian, if I remember correctly. Uh, but I went full aggro with the deck, and I won off of Atrocity at the end of the game. So yeah, this deck can pretty much aggro down a Targon deck if you draw the right cards. So you won't
Mm.
even need Nessus.
Did you get matched into other Targon decks with Thresh Nessus, or was it the only matchup in which Thresh Nessus got to face Targon?
I think it was the only matchup. I think it was the only matchup because I faced Agigas, which was triple aggro lineup. Uh, Mezome. I don't remember if Mezome brought the Targon. No, I play. He brought Shen, Jarvan, and something else. I don't remember what the other deck was. Uh, which Nessus Thresh does well against Shen, Jarvan, and the finals was Simon, so he didn't bring Targon. I mean, he brought Nightfall, but yeah, it's not actual Targon.
It doesn't run Hush, it's not
Yeah, it doesn't run
Targon.
Hush. Yeah.
um, you said that it's a little bit finicky to play into Targon, and you managed to get away with it. So, what's the strategy when you are getting matched against an Invoke deck, for example, or a deck that can run Hush?
Pretty much go for my early cards like the Doomkeeper, Buckeye Reaper. Curse Keeper is so nice. And pretty much just hit face, keep hitting face as much as I can. Buckeye Sand Spinner does wonders. If they're running Zoe, for example, we can remove Zoe with Buckeye Sand Spinner. And she can't even if they play her late in the game, she can't even hit Nexus anymore because it decreases the damage of it. And yeah, it's a 5/3 for 4 mana. Like if it manages to hit face, it deals a lot of damage. Thresh is also really important. If we can level Thresh in this matchup, it's really awesome if you can pull a Nasus for free without having to commit 6 mana for him. Even if he gets hushed, you're not really too mad. You got him for free, you know? And that's one hush out of the way.
And I'm not sure if you are watching what people try to Frankenstein Thresh Nessus with, because they are currently trying Shroud of Darkness. What do you think about adding Shroud of Darkness to this deck?
The card that gives spell shield.
Yes.
I actually thought about it. It's not bad. It's not bad. But it's like if you wanna combo it with Nasus, you're gonna wait till you have full mana. You need 13 mana to do it. Like the idea is play Shroud of Darkness for 1 mana, drop Nasus 6 mana. That's 7. Then you Atrocity because they can't hush anymore. But it's like decked for Targon lineup only. Yeah, it's very hard to like get the combo off.
I think one of the main ideas is that you can summon Nasus with Thresh, and because Shroud of Darkness is an effect that applies on summon, you just summon Nasus and he already gets it. I think.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. But like, you also need to level Thresh, so that's not uh, 100% play. Like, it's not gonna work out every time. They might remove your Thresh.
But how hard is it to level up Thresh? Because from my experience and playing against the Nasus Thresh deck, you are leveling Thresh quite consistently with this deck.
You are, yeah, you are. Especially against lineups that can't really remove Thresh very easily. You can level up Thresh a lot. So yeah, it could happen. Yeah, it does happen. I never tried it, to be honest.
Since it is your masterpiece, what would be the tips for the people that are watching and would like to get into Trash Nessus and play it? What would be your top tips?
Don't get greedy with your mulligans because you're gonna brick, and the deck can break. Like if you see a curse keeper and you don't have something to trigger it, mulligan everything away to find the trigger and keep. You can keep the curse keeper, but you have to find something to mulligan. Sometimes it feels like you want to keep the trash, but sometimes you get uh uh like you could be playing against aggro and you have a thresh and then you draw another thresh and a Nessus along with it and you'll feel bad. And it happened to me in against Simon. I got greedy, I kept the thresh, then I drew two other thresh. And then after it a Nessus and I just lost the game on turn 5, I think.
All right,
So don't
and
get greedy with your mulligans pretty much. And Black Spear is really a good card. So uh you have to watch out and know when to trigger it and pretty much remove something with it, which is a good removal for a lot of cards. For example, if you're playing against this card aggro, it's really nice to remove Jinx with Black Spear.
sounds nice. And would you change anything on the spell side? Because you said that you're playing with a lot of versions. Some of them have Withering Well, some of them do not.
I think this version is good for like board presence. I wouldn't change it. If I'm playing against, for example, Lissandra Trondo or something, I might fit in a Vengeance or something. If I'm like playing against the discard aggro, I'll obviously add a Withering Wail.
Yeah, it makes total
Yeah,
sense.
it depends on the matchups pretty much, or what you're expecting, or what you're targeting.
But let's say for ladder purposes, if people want to ladder with this list, would you change anything to it, or do you think it's ladder ready?
I'm actually playing this on ladder, so it's doing fine. It's doing well. Like I played it yesterday, and it got a nice win rate, like 70% or 60%. I don't remember exactly, but it's positive win rate.
Alright, because I have been playing the game in the morning and I have been queuing into Trash Nessus after Trash Nessus, so it's piquing a lot of attention. Good job making this deck popular.
Thanks, thanks. Also, if you're playing the mirror, you might want to add a vengeance if you're playing a mirror. Also, you want to find your thresh early game.
For example, what would you remove here to add a vengeance?
Probably Valfeast. I don't think we need the Valfeast. I'll probably remove Valfeast and add Vengeance instead.
Do you think one vengeance is enough, for example, or do you think
No,
it's more?
obviously you wanna add more. You probably wanna add like two or three, but like two is fine.
And still keep a cheeky Valfist that people do not expect or play around
Yeah,
anyways.
you could do that. Yeah, or add another Rite of Negation to counter whatever they wanna do. Like if you stop their atrocity, that's so good for you.
Yeah, seems nice. And after we've been talking about your masterpiece, we're going to be talking about the deck that is making a presence once again in the meta, Draven Ezreal. The same question applies this time, why Draven Ezreal?
Uh, I usually like Draven Ezreal a lot. I always like most of my tournaments. I play it. No one was playing it for a while. Uh, I think everyone was preferring other kind of decks, mostly because they were preferring Targon, I guess. This deck performs well against aggro, uh, unless they like get a really great hand and you low roll, you can't do anything about it. But it performs well against aggro. It holds its ground, contests the board, removes threats. Like it has everything pretty much. And at the same time, it still can beat Targon. So even if they have a lot of healing, you still have outs. You still can win the game. Especially late game with Ezreal. Ezreal just could possibly win the game for you. Uh, it doesn't have really too much polarizing matchup except for Lee Sin. A little bit Lissandra Trundle, you could lose to that, but mostly Lee Sin. So with this lineup, I'm looking to ban Lee Sin anyways. So Ezreal Draven felt fine for me.
Yeah, and you have been speaking about Targon, and I'm straight up looking at the spells you're playing here, and I'm seeing Noxian Guillotine but not Scorched Earth. Is this because you didn't expect that much Temple around?
Yeah, I didn't expect Temple at all. I'm not gonna run Scorched Earth for Temple, so I didn't bring it. I'd prefer just run one Guillotine, even though I would. Usually I wouldn't even run it. I just run one guillotine to let my opponent know, yo, I have one guillotine in the deck, you have to play around it.
Did it actually hit value during your matches?
It hit what?
Did it hit value?
Value? Not really, no. No, I
Did
don't
you
think so.
draw it?
I don't remember actually. Maybe I drew it. I think I did in one game, but like it didn't really do much in the game.
You are not a good player. You are not playing your runoffs to draw them.
Yeah, we didn't draw them. Even though like I remember one matchup I was winning and then I just my top decks were really bad. I didn't even draw any damage or anything. So I lost the game, but it performed pretty well in the tournament.
Yeah, and I also see that you are playing Torn of the Rose. What's their use in this deck?
You get a stun which stops the Watcher. It's really nice.
So is it really just Watcher tech, or does it have other
It's
use?
also a 3 mana that triggers your Tri-Beam. The stun also can stop a healing unit like the 5/4 with in Targon. That when
Mhm.
you drop it, it gets
The
healing
Solar
lifesteal.
Sunforger.
Yes, it can stop it, and it works with Flock. So it's really amazing card.
Awesome, and I assume that it is also a great discard fodder because you do run some ramages and you are not going to feel at sometimes that bad discarding a Guile.
Yeah, it works like that. Usually I don't have to, but yeah, it could work like that since we're running 3 bots and a Draven.
Yeah, the discard fodder is definitely there. And now that we've been talking about all the decks, what was the strategy? You said that you have scouted your opponent. So what was your strategy when building this lineup? What were you thinking?
Strategy was beat aggro decks, mostly Nightfall and discard aggro. Like all my lineups do well against discard aggro. So that was pretty much the strategy. And at the same time, I want to beat other kind of decks if I face like if I faced the Demacia deck, my lineup still does pretty well against it. Which Mezome brought a Demacia deck, and I think I 2-0'd it if I remember correctly. So yeah, it really did well.
And now
I lost
that
one game against Mizome, which was super unlucky. Uh, against Ezreal, he was playing Ezreal Draven as well, and I was playing the Invoke deck, and I dropped the Great Beyond to end the game, and he played Trime Beam for 2 mana and got an elusive unit to block the Great Beyond. So it was so tilting. I tilted so much after that.
I mean, it is fun when you hit that kind of zinc beam, as it is known in the community.
Yeah.
Now that the tournament is done and dusted, how did you feel playing in the tournament, and did the format in particular? Do you have any advice for the organization? Anything that you felt needed changing, or did anything run smoothly?
Everything ran smoothly. The organization did really well with the tournament. It was pretty fun. I didn't have any issues. I just it's not something for the organization, it's just for uh generally speaking. I don't really like the Riot format because like if there's one or couple of cards that are strong, a lot of players will run them multiple times in different decks, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like for example, if Hush is super strong, someone will bring 2 decks with Hush, and that's kind of polarizing, you know.
What was the best format, or what would be the best format that you would enjoy playing then if Riot Lock is still leaving us wanting?
Uh, the region lock is fine, but I don't mind people bringing uh a region twice, one region twice. So I'd rather they do a card lock thingy. So you can't bring, like for example, if you're running Hush in one deck, you can't bring it in a second deck.
Think we also tried in RCO the collection lock where you could bring multiple copies but spread across a lineup, and that would also make it work because you cannot put one hash in every single deck.
Yeah, that also can work out. But card lock is just more forcing you to like in one deck only. So it's you don't have to play around it in a second deck. So you could bring like 2 Hush in one deck and 1 Hush in another deck, and then you still have to play around it. But yeah, both of them are fine.
Yeah, I also think that if you are going for card lock, people cannot abuse so many cards, because if you are putting them, as you said, in one deck, you are not available to put them into another deck, for example, that is still Targon won't work. Unless, for example, you go a deck that is Invoker and a deck that is Nightfall Aggro, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you won't be able to bring triple aggro anymore, which is pretty much the goal.
Do you hate Aggro?
Do I hate aggro? Yes. I brought aggro in the last tournament in the duels of Rima. I wanted to test it out, but I don't think I'm gonna bring aggro again. I don't think it's for me. I like matchups where I feel like I still have an out, I still can win. But if you're like playing against anti-aggro, you just feel like you already know the game was lost in like turn 3 or 4, and I don't like that too much.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
don't think it's
leave.
my style.
It also doesn't leave, I think, much outplay potential, or it's not seen as leaving much outplay potential. For example, something like discard Argo might bring Nightfall Aggro because they get more finicky. They are not straightforward. I think that's why people bring them now.
Yeah. This card aggro was fun though. I had fun playing this card aggro.
Would you bring it to a tournament in the future just for the sake of fun, or would you play it on ladder?
Maybe I'd bring it to a tournament. I'm not sure yet. But it has to work with my other lineup. So if it doesn't work, I probably won't.
We will see, but as you know, when we're nearing the end of the interview, if there is someone that helped you out along the way, or if there is someone that supported you, it's time for them to receive a shout out. So, who helped you?
For this tournament,
Yes.
I just brought the lineup. To be honest, I didn't really practice anything. But generally, I've been writing now guides on Runeterra CCG, so I've been working with them. And Dalton helps me out a bit with testing some lineups. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. I watch sometimes Simon playing and stuff like that, just to like learn more about what's going on or what lineups he's considering. And I ask Broken Ball what he's considering. That's about it.
Alright, very nice. Once again, congratulations for the tournament win. We do hope to have you around more. You have been here 2 times, 4 times. Fourth time, I guess it is
Hopefully
the
a
charm.
third time.
Yeah, we expect you to be around. You are a consistent player. And other than that, thank you for joining us. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. We are going to come back very shortly with yet another interview. See ya.